Welcome back, folks. This is David Paulides, and you're listening to the Missing 411 podcast. Today, I'm talking to you from a place of profound, unsettling beauty. Lake McDonald, Glacier National Park. You see those majestic, towering peaks cut off right now by the closed, going to the Sun Road. This is the wilderness. Pristine, breathtaking, and yet it is here that the dark patterns of unexplained disappearances become most visible. I've been tracking these cases for years. Thousands of people who simply vanish from our national parks and wilderness areas. The ones that defy all conventional logic. We're not talking about simple accidents or missteps. We're talking about an eerie collection of similar circumstances spanning decades and thousands of miles. It's a terrifying pattern, one that screams of an unseen, incomprehensible force that operates right at the edge of our world. The tragic reality is that sometimes people disappear not into the physical woods, but into the wilderness of the mind, and that, too, can lead right back to the inexplicable. Think about the unsettling story of Robbie Gallagher, a young man who found his peace in the ocean waves of Oahu, but whose stability fractured under the weight of isolation. His family saw a rapid decline, a mental break that triggered a compulsion to move, to walk. He was last seen after leaving a medical center before receiving treatment. He walked away into the night, dropping his body surfing fins, a key possession, like an anchor he suddenly shed because some internal switch had been flipped. This rapid, irrational movement is critical. In my Missing 411 research, a frequent hallmark is the victim's underlying compromised state, whether physical or mental. They wander away with a single-minded determination, often covering impossible distances through impossible terrain, and then they are simply gone. What if, in that compromised state, he was perceived as an easier target, an individual whose weakened connection to reality made him susceptible to being taken? This brings us to the dark heart of the forest. The correspondence I received tells me that some entity is actively luring people, something that wants them to come closer. One letter shared a strange tale. Two friends, one playing a guitar, were met with profound quiet. Then the last piece of music played was repeated back to them, a high-pitched, metallic hum. They described it as the sound of the fairy song. It was an audible invitation coming from the depths of the hiking trail. Here is where the dread sets in. As they walked deeper, the sound got softer. But the moment they stopped, the music would surge, loud and insistent. It was an intelligence mocking them, saying, "No, keep coming, just around the next bend, just a little bit further." They felt a primal, overwhelming urge to run, but resisted. They feared running would trigger an attack, like a dog's prey drive, suddenly engaged by panic. This is a classic signature in our cases, the unseen lure. It's an irresistible attraction to a specific, often rocky and isolated, out-of-the-way location. What is this intelligence? Is it a cryptid like Bigfoot, whose vocal mimicry is meant to draw victims from the safety of the campfire, or something far older? The high strangeness only increases when we examine other phenomena that overlap with these disappearance clusters. The dark threads of UFOs and surgical mutilations. In Central Virginia, a correspondent described being enveloped by an utter silence in the woods, broken only by a powerful stench of hot, raw sewage. Then came the sound, a 4x4 post repeatedly smacking a massive tree 40 yards away, with no wind, no animals, and no visible source of movement. Later, the same person experienced footsteps pacing them in the dense, old-growth forest, footsteps that stopped the very second they stopped walking. This culminated in the chilling sight of a black, silent helicopter, hovering without lights at 2:30 a.m., directly over the woods. A phantom machine guarding an unknown secret. Paulides note, this type of machine is often reported in conjunction with cattle mutilation sites. That leads us back to the mutilations. I've personally investigated these sites in the U.S., and the details align with reports from Turkey and beyond. There is the precise surgical removal of vital organs, eyes, genitalia, livers, and crucially, no spilled blood at the scene or in the animal's veins. It is instantaneous, silent action. The animals are always placed back in a spot where they are meant to be seen. It's a message delivered with cold, clinical precision. I believe the disappearance clusters, the bizarre lures, and these profound mutilations are all symptoms of the same core problem: a dimensional rift or a portal. Something is capable of entering our space, choosing its targets: the injured, the alone, the compromised. It preys on those whose footing is already unstable. This unknown force, whether it is an alien abduction scenario or a primordial entity, it appears to operate by certain rules. It uses the quiet, the fog, the sudden mental break. When a person with a compromised mind like Robbie Gallagher wanders, they may be unwittingly placing themselves at the very edge of one of these missing 411 danger zones. The strange sounds, the magnetic lure, the feeling of being hunted, these are the last warnings they receive before they are snatched into a void or a place we cannot yet comprehend. We must keep searching, keep documenting, and keep pushing for answers. Because until we understand the rules of this phenomenon, the beautiful wilderness will continue to claim its victims without a trace. Be safe out there, folks. Stay aware.